ask you a question.
Yeah. Is this the question that you sent me the WhatsApp?
No.
Oh, God.
This one, I came up with it today.
Okay.
On my way here. I was like, man, I want to know what Shannon thinks. Tell me, dog, do you like Star Wars?
I don't mind Star Wars. I'm not going to say that I can remember every detail, but I really remember when I was a kid and the movies came out.
You were into it.
I was into it, yeah. I love fantasy and that type of stuff. I'm not going to lie. Okay. Obi-Wan Kenobi,
and
Luke.
shit.
Do you know the one Mandela effect about that? Luke, I am your father? Is that how you remember it?
No,
Luke.
No, that's not. I've just started getting into it.
Okay.
Like, in the past week.
So you and
I was like, yo, so I'm on some white boy shit right now. Let me ask Shannon.
Bro, I don't know about it being white or black, but it is definitely.
No, but like
when it came out, it was definitely more for the privilege, because you had to go to the movies or have a TV.
I didn't really mean it like in a literal sense. I just mean that it's like
it is very fanboy.
At its peak, it was definitely being consumed mostly by young
100%, yeah.
It's just that it went viral. You know what I'm saying? And like
they made billions on that franchise.
I'm finding it totally fascinating. I'm like, this is a different fucking world.
Did you do it the right way around?
No, you know what I did? I asked my good friend GPT to give me the sequence.
Okay.
The original sequence. So I'm watching the storyline from episode 1 to 12.
Okay. So the way that we watched it as it was released.
As it was written, not as it was released, because the releases are inconsistent on date. For example, in 1977, episode 8 was released, but it's part of the storyline.
Yeah, they started backwards, and then they recorded, then they went the other way around. Yeah.
Exactly. So I started with the Phantom Menace.
Okay. Crazy how the CGI back then was.
Bro, I was like, yo, these guys were cooking.
Bro, all of that's like puppets and stuff, bro.
This is crazy, dog. Like,
the one thing I'm looking forward to, they said in Avatar, that the new Avatar, whenever it's coming out, and a lot of the shows are going to say, this was not created by AI. None of this was created by AI, which is pretty dope to me. A lot today, you can create a whole movie by just prompting into ChatGPT, and boom, and it comes out with a script and everything. So I feel like if you're paying money for that, I want to see a person like really put their art behind it. That's kind of the point
them
that I was
niggas went crazy, dog. I was like, wow.
Bro, can you imagine how long it take them to make a movie back then?
That's why I'm so intrigued to go and watch the older ones, but I'm watching the sequence, so
yeah.
I'm really enjoying it, man. But anyway.
Who's your favorite character?
So far, I have to say, man, I love my Master Yoda.
Okay. Sick. You do give the Yoda vibe, so I'll accept that.
Okay, cool. I appreciate that. Yo, those of you who are just joining us, you're watching LoudSpoken. I'm Uno the Dank Dude.
And I'm Shan the Cannon Man.
Yeah, man.
And we are highly opinionated.
Yeah.
Because we are always high. It's not true.
Not always.
It's not true. There's always a time and a place
often.
for it.
Yeah.
I just prefer it.
So here's the other question I wanted to ask you. The more pressing one. Dog, when last were you in a toy?
Like the club in Braamfontein?
I've been there recently. But no, not there. In a toy.
I've actually never partaken besides the cannabis march. In a march,
Okay. But does that count as a toy?
I don't think that was.
Toy is a little more riotty.
More riotty, yeah. I don't know. It would have to be a bloody good reason.
Fees must fall.
No,
you didn't jump into that.
I don't even think I was part of the university when Fees Must Fall. I was out of university.
So because it didn't concern you, why the hell should I?
Yeah.
Much. No, well, I'm not judging you.
I was gonna say there, it would have to be a very good reason for me to riot and break and destroy. I appreciate a peaceful march and stuff, but for a riot, I just feel like most of the people that are in the riot, they feeling the energy, and then they don't take concern for what they're actually destroying. Most bystanders stuff gets fucking destroyed, and then I feel like, what did this prove? This guy's now got to put an insurance claim, even if he has insurance or not. Most of these people don't. And then it's just like, what did you actually prove? You just made a mess and fucking. Did you get your point across? I don't know. I don't know if these things do.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them have had great success, but if it's well orchestrated, I think the point can get proven.
I caught myself. You know, I don't know if you know that meme of Arthur, the fist. Do you know it? Let me show you. But like, it's an expression.
Are there going to be riots starting soon?
No, dog. I feel like that's actually my problem. I feel like
we're not doing enough. We're not making enough noise.
Yeah, dog.
I hear you.
This taxation thing, dog.
I
like
hear you.
The
budget
thing,
speech, yeah.
You know, I was like,
Wasn't a very
yo,
good
guys,
thing.
what are we? What's going on?
I typed in quite a scary thing. I prompt ChatGPT. Well, actually, my friend prompted about the middle class, average South African, and what the budget speech imposed, which I thought was it gave like quite scary topics, because South Africa is in quite a grim position.
I'm telling you, dog.
It wasn't like a great read as an average South African who fits into that class, you know what I mean? And a lot of South Africans don't even fit into the middle class.
This is how I felt. This is the meme. Like, damn. I was like, yo, we need to go and fucking. But it was the thing is like, it was a passing moment, and it made me angry. Yeah, that feeling passed. I was like, man, so I'm not really angry about this shit that's going on. I'm like, how many people are there like me?
That's a very interesting way to look at things. Because how willing are you to make a point in your life? Are you willing to destroy things? Are you willing to go against the grain and actually set up things?
You know what I want to do?
Yeah.
I just want to.
What do you want to change?
I want to just show that I'm angry. I think that's all I want to do, dog. I just want to, bro. The increase in the electricity on July. It was agreed by stakeholders. I'm like, I don't remember anybody asking me.
I was not involved in this chat, bro.
Who is this person that represents us?
No,
and says no, it's fine. It doesn't matter. Just keep it low. But put it up. Keep it low, but put it up.
No, that's a very valid point. Do you think the politicians are out of touch with the people?
Dog, wasn't it you that sent me that video of Cyril
saying we should stop schooling?
We should stop schools for 2 years.
Yes.
I was like, yo, this guy is crazy.
For that, let me actually bring that budget speech up, because
this dude is wilding.
No, he's crazy, bro. I think if there's
stop schools for 2 years. No, you know what? It would have been a better thing. It would have been more feasible. The idea is great. He says overhaul, fine, but you do it section by section.
Yeah. Or you just introduce the ones that have got the structure, and then the older ones you bring you give them.
What type of solution? Just like, okay, let's stop schools for 2 years and hope that we make it.
So the budget speech did allocate more money to the schooling thing, and I'll bring up some of these topics, but let's run through this, and I'll read it pretty quickly.
Okay.
Here are the key concerns for the middle class citizen based on 2025 South African budget speech. Tax burden increase, VAT increase obviously to 0.5%. This means higher costs on the everyday goods and services, disproportionately affecting the middle-income earners who don't qualify for many social grants, but also don't benefit from corporate tax breaks. There's no inflationary tax relief. Fuel levies and sin taxes are increasing. Cost of living inflation is still high, projected at 5.2%, which means the average household expenses on grocery, transport and housing will continue to rise. The increasing electricity prices, housing and home loan concerns. There are no major incentives for first-time home buyers. Middle-class citizens struggle to qualify for government housing subsidies, but also find private housing unaffordable. Education funding remains a focus, but there are no new benefits for middle-income families paying private school fees, which is, I guess, kind of like you can find good public schools. There are good public schools out there. That's a bit of a stereotypical ChatGPT flaunt there. Healthcare funding includes spending on public hospitals, which is amazing. As long as the money goes to the right places, when they're giving these
Come on,
like
but
29.8 billion.
We know that's not happening. That's another thing. We know it's what they call in politics an
Like-
open secret.
So
It's such a political term.
So listen to this:
Open
public
secret.
service and infrastructure issues. They're going to spend on the water and sanitation 156 billion. You know, so if all of that money goes there, we won't have these weeks where it's like water shedding in Joburg, in Gauteng, or where these residents haven't had water for like 6 months, which is still the case in most of these fucking places. You know, so if the funding, all of this government, all of these numbers that you threw out here, 402 billion allocated to public transport, if that money goes to South Africans and goes to the correct services, it's a circular economy, because when the budget goes out, it has to be spent on contractors. Those contractors have to buy supplies from South Africa, and then all of that money then gets revatted from all these other companies, which goes back into the country. So there's more money. So if you steal it, the circular, it's not a circle anymore. It's just a fucking line. It's a line
like-
from your hands into their pockets.
It's like that question. Yeah, it's a straight line, direct from your
our
pockets
hands to
their
your
pockets.
fucking pockets.
Yeah.
And that's really the problem.
And then they have the nerve to put the VAT up, dog.
Take money away. How much do you think
You-
private security for the government, for the high ministers, how much do you think they spend a year on that?
All of them.
All the ministers, private security,
Minister, deputy minister,
Yeah, they
members
all-
of cabinet,
the members of
like all these people who qualify for it. I think a good 250 million.
3.4 billion.
Are you serious?
Your
On security.
on security details, so the blue light brigades, 3.4 million. Let me just give you a problem.
Billion.
SARS allocated 3.5 billion in the current financial year. This is 3.4 billion. Musi's going crazy. This is all I can
That's
hear
crazy.
Musi talk about on Facebook. He's going all about like, why don't you just stop that? And there you go.
It must be hella unsafe here. I wonder why.
Yeah, because you don't put that 3.4
wonder
billion
why.
into fucking the policing.
Yeah.
And get the policing in the
But
state.
can I tell you who you sound like
I
right
sound like a white Afrikaans tannie.
now? No.
A guy that wants to riot. I feel like I can riot
You
now.
sound like Ernest.
I take small offense. I take small offense. But I know you watched the Tucker interview there, and I wasn't too upset with what he was saying. He was
Of
spitting.
course.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised.
Shit.
No surprises there. You know, but also I know you mean that in sincerity.
Yeah, I
Right.
don't think it was a bad interview.
I think
he was shedding light on
Tuckerson, I think Ernest pulled up there and did exactly what he was gonna do, which is speak for white people. He didn't speak for South Africans.
No, he didn't. He spoke for white Africans as well.
But he spoke like
white.
No, when he spoke about we as South Africans, and he wasn't speaking about us as South Africans. You understand? That was the one-dimensional aspect of his conversation, especially down to, you know, like I'll give you.
But he was.
Wait. Let me finish this train of
yeah.
thought. Sorry, man. It's like democracy to black people. Ultimately, the concept of democracy is foreign. With it, I don't know. I've asked a lot of older black people, what's the vernacular word for democracy in your language, our language? They like scrambled. You know, what's the translation for Ubuntu in your language? It's gonna take some time.
It's gonna take a little bit of time.
Maybe it's there, but it's things like that.
Community would be
This is what
one
this
word I
guy
would
now
shout
is
out.
on TV. You know what? I get where you're going, but I would say humanity.
Humanity's a good one.
Humanity more.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
but
fair.
you see how different the understanding is
Yeah.
between us, and who knows what makes the difference, the understanding different. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, how can somebody who doesn't understand the concept be elaborating on it? Like, bro, come on, dog. You know that's not what it is.
Yeah.
In fact, it's not that you know that's not what it is. You know you shouldn't be talking about it. It's
But-
like me talking about Orania. I never been there. I don't have an opinion about it. I've watched a number of videos
Did you
about
see
it.
the latest trends
Which one?
of Orania? It's popping up all over.
What?
How lush and green it is, and then all the black people are like, they just went through one season of rain. Relax, people, because it was like pictures of the 60s, which is like desert. Obviously, Orania hadn't started, and now
they turned it
and
around.
now it's like just green because
Yeah,
obviously all
yeah,
the houses
yeah,
and
yeah,
gardens
yeah,
look
yeah.
quite fucking cool.
Yeah.
But I would never live there. Just imagine. No, fuck.
You don't think so?
No
I
ways.
look at it. I look
I
at
couldn't
it.
do
I
that.
was like, it's a bit
I
utopian.
like the spice of life. Yeah.
It's a bit. Yeah, I like that. That's good. I think it's a bit utopian, and I feel like, it's great. Like to be able to create a community of people who are like all the same, and we all are striving towards this common goal. I feel like the concept should be multiplied across different communities, whether it's race based on culture. But isn't this also what those people who we can't mention,
leaders.
the Jews, don't they do what kibbutz?
Yeah,
whatever?
kibbutzes in
It's
Israel.
It's a community,
but,
right?
But that's foreigners do work in the kibbutzes.
No,
So there's not
but what
Israel
I'm-
only.
what-
I think
what
there
I'm
might
saying,
be Israeli only
it's
kibbutzes.
part of their language to have a word that describes us living together as a community.
Yeah.
You understand? That's all I really mean about bringing that up. And I feel
I would have
like
loved to go work in a kibbutz when I was a student. I think that would have been you. Do you know how much knowledge you get? You have to do all types of things, picking fruits.
So you think the rabbis have all the knowledge?
No, you.
Or
knowledge
knowledge from where?
I think you're also similar. You would like to get a better understanding of multiple beliefs.
Yeah.
Because I think all of them are connected in some sort of a way.
But I don't think
your gaining of that knowledge would be like beneficial to you to try to get an understanding, see how, whatever, if you're Christian, Muslim, whatever.
I'd rather go chill with the monks.
I think it would be cool. You're earning some money, you're getting travel, bro. You're a student, you've got nothing. They give you everything, housing, food.
I'd rather go
get experience.
I'd rather go learn to steal my mind.
And I'm not a student, man. I think we
Still.
Oh, still.
Yeah. With the monks.
What I wanted to say with the Ernest interview, remember the popularity of media and how media want to get views.
Yeah.
What was the big topic? It was Solidarity and AfriForum going to Trump.
Yeah.
So that was like about farm murders, and that was the topic. If you saw farm murders in white genocide or something like that, and we've spoken about it a lot. The amount of murders in South Africa, the amount that are white is a small percentage of the actual amount of murders.
Yeah. And we're not saying that to nullify.
Yeah, so
the fact that the murders
the murders are happening, but farm murders are happening to both whites and blacks. That's what I think. The only thing I could have suggested to Ernest was bring that point across.
But then that would totally nullify his agenda, because that guy is standing on that platform saying,
I don't think it
my people. That's why Tucker Carlson is there saying, I've never met a Buddha I didn't like.
Yeah,
and you reinforced that.
I don't think he's met enough Lebanese.
I was like, this guy doesn't know what's going on down the road.
See, in that point,
you understand what I mean?
Speaking about the white Afrikaner, and that was what the point he was bringing across.
He was whitewashing. I feel like for that, I love Tucker. For Tucker, I love Tucker. But for that episode, I watched the whole thing.
White dudes.
I watched the whole thing calling him Fucker Carlson. Because I was like,
I think
this is bullshit. This is not a serious conversation.
I want you to do something after this. Go watch it. You remember you gave me the thing of a I must put myself in a black person's shoes.
Yes.
I want you to rewatch some of that. You don't have to watch a lot. As being a white Afrikaans guy.
No,
and see.
No, you know what? Can I tell you? This is the thing. The whole interview, I was with him. I felt his pain. Then I realized at the end, this motherfucker, he's just talking about his people.
I did say my advice would be to clarify. I did give you my advice on what I think Ernest should have done. I did say that, so you can stop attacking me.
What I'm saying is that I get it, but it's like the part that is kind of like distorted in most people's understanding is that there was a time where historically these people were here and these people weren't. Now these people are here and these people ain't got the land, but
oh shit. But okay, so now if you're going back to that, are you talking about the Khoisan or what? Because
I'm just
you watched that episode.
I just mean like, you know, this guy, the least he can do in this conversation is at least try to be objective and represent all South Africans.
Yeah, like I said, prove more of the
because
stats
if you're talking about the land, fam, you cannot not talk about black people, period. And that guy was not talking about black people.
I do agree.
You know, I'm not saying that he doesn't care about them. You know? I'm just saying that
he's gonna,
in that interview, oh man,
no, I do believe
that
you're
was
right. That
total misrepresentation of South Africa as a nation.
Yeah, but I also think if you read the topic, it wasn't saying South Africa. It was they were talking about the Afrikaner.
But he is talking about we as South Africans.
Yeah,
I watched it.
Which is the Afrikaners. If you come look at their 16, when they arrived with the Khoisan and then they made treaties with the Khoisan.
I'm just saying they're not the only ones.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
But everybody settled in South Africa.
I feel like he needs to have a broader context.
Yeah, bring him back on.
But I do understand. I do understand also from his perspective that, man, you know, maybe when my people were running this shit, we were a bit corrupt, but shit was happening.
I think if he put a little bit more South Africanism to it, he would have got more
just
views.
some
because
national pride.
If you watch Check the Views, it wasn't his top viewer.
Yeah.
So you know, people weren't.
And it's not even the first time they chopped it up.
I get it, but if just take a different perspective when you watch it again. But I agree with you.
I also see what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I just came to emphasize this because I feel like this is the critique that it needed.
Yeah.
That piece. You know, because like I said,
agree.
I did watch it with compassion.
Yeah, I agree.
I did watch it like, oh man, this guy, he's just who doesn't want their people to thrive?
No, I agree.
But like when you're talking like that, dog, you're talking about 50 million people, and there's a lifestyle in South Africa that he doesn't know.
Yeah.
You know, you think white people are suffering from the farm murders.
Oh no, bro.
Don't even
That's
make.
Not even a little bit of the suffering. Yeah.
Do you want us to talk about some good news?
Yeah. So there was a dog that found kidnapping suspect.
They kidnapped the dog.
Oh really?
You were not watching.
I didn't even read, bro.
Dog.
So the inside joke here is LoudSpoken was supposed to be brought up in like categories. You know, we speak about these intense topics around that influence South Africa and around the world.
Yes.
But then we wanted to break it with like some good news.
Yes, definitely.
And you know how difficult it is to find like world news or South African news that's like uplifting. And this guy, because we go on the internet, we browse.
Can I add? Bro, you know how long it took me to settle on that article that I sent you? Because every single article I found about good news had something to do with the pet.
Bro,
I was like, yo, man, what the fuck?
And I get it. That's a sad reality.
He's a good boy, she's a good girl, but what the fuck?
No, bro. No, the world right now, it's crazy. There's a couple of, I must admit, there's a couple of developments in medical news. Like there's some stage of cancer that they've found a treatment to, which is obviously huge news, but it's nothing that's like broken BBC in a long time, or ENC, there's nothing that's popping up, which is a sad reality. And do you think it's because of the Trump effect?
Don't do that.
I don't. Yeah, no. We were told also earlier in the show.
I was thinking we wrap up with Trump. Just do the day. Must have a Trump segment, Trump talk.
The Trump talk, TT. Because we were told that
because there's
female viewers might not want to watch. Because we speak about Trump so much.
And this is it's a platform for everybody.
It is.
All topics are welcome. It's just that there's no news without Trump right now.
No, there isn't.
News.
Like everything's around Trump.
Yeah. I'd love to hear some good news. Okay, I do have some good news about Trump.
Okay.
But we'll get there.
Did you see he won the club champs at his own golf course over the weekend? I swear to God.
Wait, relax.
I swear.
So let me tell you, so we're talking about Ernest, right?
Yeah.
Yo, so bro, I got a crazy YouTube algorithm. Okay. I'm subscribed to channels, but every time on my home screen, it's other shit that pops up. I'm like, wow, some of it is interesting.
Because it's picking up on your chats, bro. I'm pretty sure of it.
I picked that up.
And
I
your
picked
Google
up
searches.
that it picked up.
But
this
one,
this one video, I couldn't have expected it. Dog, it's this British guy. It's something bizarre. I'll send you the actual video. But it's my privilege to tell you, just to see and show you South Africa. But it's a dreadful story. So,
how do we go from good news to the dreadful story?
Yeah, so should I not tell you?
No, well, we're in it now, bro. I turn my body postures. I've got my arm for support. You should read that into that shit. Yeah, you see.
It's so crazy. But because we're talking about Ernest. And what switched us
South Africa.
What switched us from the suffering to the good news.
Yeah.
From suffering was the desire for good news. But let's go back to the suffering. Real quick, bro. This story was so well told, bro. It was so well told. I just wish I could retell it. But the essence of it is this woman had been struggling to have a child.
Okay.
And eventually she had one in her older age.
How old? Big details.
Yeah, going towards 40.
Okay, so old for a female.
Yeah. And she raised the kid until 3. So one day she wakes up, she wants to take the child to church like they always do. She can't find the kid. She's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She calls everybody. The whole town goes crazy. 3 days they're looking for this kid. Then one aunt remembers, yeah man, there's this other cousin or uncle of this kid that just came back from jail. Let's go check his house.
They found the kid in the bushes, right?
His brain was on the stove.
What the fuck?
That guy ate that kid like a piece of chicken.
Yo, I've got a snus in my mouth. And that story,
I was like, does Ernest know this is what's happening?
Yeah, that's a big story.
Does Ernest know this is what's happening?
Ooh. That was a stomach turner, that one.
Yeah. I'm just like,
no, but that's what I'm saying.
Does Ernest
the
know?
Percentages, like what we're trying to say, South Africa's state is not. We all live in a bubble. You even live in a bubble. You're not even. You outside of a certain. So everybody lives in these certain bubbles.
For sure.
And some of these bubbles are fucking rough. We do live in a third world country at the end of the day. But it all comes down to, dude. How do we do that though? How do we can't riot because we see riots don't work. Look at what happened to Durban. How many billions got lost in those?
Yeah,
that was a riot.
But we're not talking about looting per se.
Yeah. But that's what it turns to, dude. That's what That's what riots turn
Yeah,
to. People
but-
are opportunists in this country.
Yeah, I get it, and maybe my desire to express collective anger is actually very idealistic.
Yeah, I
in
think
the sense that it's not possible to march peacefully while being angry.
No, I think there are other channels to do it. You know, this is the smallest channel, you know, that we're using right now. You know, to make people aware of what's happening in this world. You know, so this is a small ripple, and there are other ways. Joining organizations that go and put petitions down, that go to government with different things, and they say, "Whoa, where's the people?" They are, but we have to use that anger, like you say, and channel it towards the right channels. Because what happens with these marches, we've seen is lawlessness. Because South Africa,
Let me ask you a question.
opportunists,
You're,
dude.
you're an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah.
You've been involved in this establishment
Yeah.
historically. When load shedding was at its peak, how much were you losing? You don't even have to give me a number.
No, I can, because we know exactly. So every 3 days you would have to fill the tank, and that's like 3,000 rand.
So you'd have to buy it first.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to pay the stupid amounts of petrol tax that we pay.
All the installation costs.
Oh,
You understand?
yeah.
Why aren't you angry?
I was angry, but I knew the
You
problem
was.
wasn't gonna, I was. Yeah, and I tried to make a difference by voting the way I voted.
Okay.
You know, so I tried in the small increments that I could in my channels that I had accessible. But if we were really angry, we could create our own party. You know, like countless others have tried, and we could rally the troops. You know, that's the end of the day. And I do see, like,
Do you know what I would
the
call
GNU, the GNUs, I'm 50-50 on them so far, but I do see, like, they are making a difference, because if they weren't there, we would have had 2% VAT
do you
increase, 100%.
Do you think people would call us? Do you think people would vote for us if we called ourselves the Puss Good Party?
The Push Good Party, yeah. Everybody in Boksburg and Brakpan. They won't even know what we stand. They won't know what we stand for.
The whole triangle.
But they would like us because of the name.
Yeah. That's a Puss Good name.
Well, you're a
Puss Club corruption.
Miner. You're a Push. Oh, this one is my
Puss
logo.
Club corruption out of here.
That's a
our
good one.
campaign.
That's a good one.
That's true. So
Because it really is
if you want to
easy.
see us start a political party, tell us in the comments.
It would bring a lot of things, dude.
Yeah, but
but
we-
and
I think
that's,
you'd make
that's
it
why
good.
I like this whole thing of even America is getting their veil being lifted with corruption.
Yeah.
You know, Doge is just unveiling corruption within their system.
Yeah.
So
What do you think about Elon Musk saying, "I'm not getting Starlink in South Africa because I'm
s-
not black"?
did he say that?
He tweeted that on his platform.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. But I heard there's some changes in the Starlink debacle in South Africa. So I think we will receive Starlink. That came on my my Google searches yesterday. So I think Elon's also got to calm down. Ye's got to calm down. Trump got to calm down. Trump starting the shit with Zelensky. It was great
Yeah,
news that
yeah.
Zelensky backed down from what he said in the Oval Office, and I think a change of hearts definitely happened
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah.
When the money was shown.
I feel like you need to calm down a little bit about Trump. Just for now. For our fans' sake. I feel like I want to do something very interesting, right?
Okay.
This is a book. It's called Roots. It's a very like classic, vintage story, right? Bestseller.
Bestseller.
Yeah.
When?
Mostly in the US, but
Okay.
historically in black culture.
Okay.
Right. So I was thinking, man, you know, maybe to make our podcast a bit more interesting, instead of always trying to source thoughts from an external world. What about we delve into something like this? But I want to give you this one, because you also must give me a book. And then we kind of talk about it in our podcast, like I read this week.
It's like a book club, what's it called?
Yeah, just briefly,
Okay, I like it.
Apparently, there's a statistic.
Yeah.
I took a screenshot of it. Wow, it'll take a lot of time to find it now because it was a while ago. Apparently, the hobby women find most attractive in men is reading.
Ah, nice. I'm on my second book.
The number one hobby.
Ladies, my number will be displayed over here.
So, maybe to counter the Trump effect,
definitely want.
We should.
But like you were saying, bro, about the Trump effect, he's always in the news.
I want to say, remember the challenge I gave you?
Yeah.
Of
reading a book?
No.
You just gave that.
Of trying to imagine. Remember, you just gave me a challenge to watch Ernest.
Yeah.
I'm like, remember you're Tabo.
Yeah, I'm Tabo. Yeah.
I think this is gonna help you understand Tabo.
Tabo better.
Yeah. I feel like you must read it.
Bro, this book is huge. And look at the line spacing.
Come on.
Dog.
You're an adult, dog.
No, I know. Alex Haley.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is the guy who wrote Malcolm X's autobiography. You know Malcolm X?
Yeah.
How come he's not on your leg?
Yeah, I can
you
put
don't love him.
No, because the two books that I have read this year, they've mentioned him a lot, and like all the people on my leg is like a mentality that I appreciated. I didn't like the whole person, but it was like a mentality that struck me as like this.
Apparently, Winston Churchill was a functioning alcoholic.
Bro, really? And a gambler, bad, but he overcame that in certain obstacles where it would cripple a lot of people, where he had the strength to put it back and withdraw from certain aspects. So you see certain aspects of that, like where it could cripple anybody, because anybody has those days where the bottle just takes away that, and then you're like, yo, this really helped me. The next day, before you know it, you're fucking 2 months down the line and you're surviving Monday to Sunday on alcohol. It happens to everybody. It can let me rephrase that. It can happen to everybody. And certain people have the certain willpower to overcome it.
Others to prevent it.
Yeah, exactly. So it would be amazing if I did a lot of things never. So I like this. I'll definitely give it a go.
You must also recommend me a book to read.
I'll give you a book.
You want me to read the Landlord's book?
I would like you to read the Landlord's book, because that's quite a cool. Because I feel like
Landlords, the men who made South Africa.
Yeah. I think that's going to be
because I watch a lot of videos about these dudes, historically. Like remember our first ever recording, I was telling you about like the Buddha culture.
Yeah.
And and how much if it wasn't so oppressive. I even know this is Jan Smarts.
Yeah. the whole build up of South Africa, actually the African continent is
this is cool. Paul, right? Paul. This is Alfred Bate, or is it?
I'm impressed. If you
this is
on watching this is impressive. Real South African, dog.
I'm tapped in.
We're gonna forget about this one. Is this questions?
Yeah, from Who Wants to Be?
I love.
What about this, dog?
Oof.
We must get to this.
Lolly Jackson, crazy.
Check, it's actually autographed by him.
What?
I thrifted it.
Crazy. 2 mil. What a bitch. Who would thrift this book after getting it signed? But this is interesting. You see, like, I think people do live in their bubbles, and they don't realize like the other world that's going on around us. Yeah,
it's like something you said in the previous episode. You said if you take the veil off the world, you'll be surprised to see
what goes on.
And I was, for a moment, I was glad that I don't get to see some of this shit, man,
bro. That story that you told me about the kid.
It's like,
bro,
wow,
I'm still a little bit like shooketh.
Shooketh is the word.
Yeah, dude. And it's the truth. It happens all over. But it also, the sad reality is, dude, it happens all over the world.
Yeah.
If it's not just here, like Brazil, the favelas there, bro. it's rough, dude. Like everywhere in the world, we just got to be better.
And you know that guy,
The government spend the money fucking correctly.
They signed it off to mental health. That guy, that uncle.
Yeah, well, fuck. You have to, bro. Fucking.
So he's not in jail. He's in an asylum.
Yeah, but I hope they dose him up with so many fucking pills that he forgets who he drools out of his mouth.
Yeah,
that's what I hope. But you know what would be great?
Yeah.
How about the death penalty?
I was also thinking about that. You know, there has to be. You know, you have to qualify for the death penalty. I feel like there has to be a threshold.
Maybe like a demerit point system. You know, I don't know.
But definitely, if they catch you eating someone,
bro,
we have to put you down, dog. You know, the same way they put down.
After you came out of prison.
The same
That's
way.
the worst part.
The same. Yeah, 1 month after. 1 month after. The same way they put down animals that eat people.
That bite dogs.
No, they eat people. Like, bro, I don't know. Historically, there've been a lot of people that have been chowed there at Kruger National Park.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They had to put down those animals.
Yeah, it never makes sense.
They put it down.
Like Harambe.
Yeah. You know, so it's like if you're gonna yeah, okay, killing another person, circumstances, who knows? But if you eat them, we definitely gotta put you down, dog. Like what are we doing? What discussion is there?
Trump put on the you see, the death penalty for killing a cop. Did you see that? So that's what he's saying. If you kill a cop, death penalty.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can last Trump for a bit. I agree. But there was one thing that I wanted to. The one I wanted to ask you a question which related to Trump.
Okay, we can talk about Trump now. I feel like we're in the Trump segment.
Yeah, and it'll be quick. I'll bring up because at the moment the Trump obviously and Zelensky, they struck a peace deal. Now they're going to Russia, negotiations, 30 days, peace, no ceasefire. You know what I mean? Okay, all great and well. Hopefully they can make enough business in there to make everybody happy and everybody wins, which is, I think, a very easy thing as an adult, a bunch of adults to do. You know, and peace, and Trump in all of his speeches is like, I will be recognized as a president for peace. Then all of a sudden, a terrorist group, I'm going to butcher the spelling of their, or the pronunciation I should say, of their name, but it's not Hamas, it's the other group. Where is this now?
But the Palestinian. They Yasser Arafat's gang.
Yeah, let me just find it.
You know Yasser Arafat's gang, the TLF, something like that.
So they all getting support from Iran at the moment. Where did I send it? Uno. Oh, you know who I will speak to about it?
Okay.
It was. That was also a great one.
Okay.
Which is going to get into the you pronounce that. Houthi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we know about.
So Trump had a big attack on Yemen recently, killed 31 people. They are saying that there were civilians involved. You know?
The Houthis.
The Houthis.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're saying that was based on this Houthis' known whereabouts, whatever.
Where are they fighting in Yemen?
Yeah, well, this is all around. They're fighting all around. This is also because of the Israel-Palestine. This is because of who's backing who.
Yes.
But this Houthi group attacked vessels on the Red Sea, and one of those vessels happened to be a U.S. Navy fleet. And then it continued. It's been continuing that this group has been attacking vessels on the Red Sea, both on the Israeli and the American side.
Yes.
So then Trump said he's going to use excessive force. 31 people killed. My thing is, now he was saying all about this peace. You know, and this is actually me going against a little bit of Trump. But then you do this. Now Poland's gearing up for war. I don't know if you've seen that. They're enforcing conscription again. So if you're aged between this and this, buddy, you're going straight into the army. They're trying to increase their army force up to 500,000 soldiers. So, you know, like, it's a little bit scary at the moment. and Trump saying peace, but then firing back with this excessive force, that's a little bit two-sided for me at the moment,
Let me complicate it for you further. Do you know that in the same breath, he's in line to create ceasefire deals with Ukraine and Russia, and Israel and Palestine?
That's what I'm saying.
In 60 days being in office. Does that not qualify him for
a Nobel Peace Prize? I understand that.
What's going on?
I don't know.
So not to dwell too much on it.
If he
the
didn't
question
do that,
still stands. Is the Trump effect good or bad? Because up until you just mentioned, because I didn't know what you mentioned, like about the excessive force bombing.
Yeah.
But up until this moment, to me, it was like, yo, man, this guy is going for the peace prize.
No, I hear you. So I'm seeing it how it plays. Obviously, if you attack something that belongs to the USA, you're a bit of an idiot. You know what I mean? You can't. In Trump's defense, obviously he's got to show like, hey, I'm about peace, but step out of line, and I'm going to give you the backhand. So but it's scary, because just imagine you are in Poland. Would you sign up as a?
Oh yeah, I remember you wanted.
This is my question to you. Would you? Let's say the world does go into World War III. As a South African, now they're calling you out. They're saying, no, if you're a capable man,
you know what? It depends.
Would you fight?
I was gonna try to be funny.
Yeah, that was a serious topic.
I was gonna try to be funny, but I feel like
And woman. Sorry, I shouldn't say man. Just only.
Can I tell you the truth? Okay. I don't think I would go to war necessarily and be a frontline soldier with a gun. But can I tell you? I actually wanted to tell you this. For quite a while, I've had a fascination of studying military science. At Stellenbosch.
Okay. It's a cool thing to go into.
Yeah, because like what I observed is like the greatest. Stellenbosch is like maybe the only Ivy League school here. So most of SA's presidents have come out of there.
Really?
Historically, yes.
Oh. Okay.
Yes.
Cyril? Where is Cyril get educated?
Nah, not at Stellenbosch. So I'm looking at it like, man, ultimately, to answer your question, I feel like yes, I really would, but like I'd love to be able to use my skills and dedicate my life to contributing to the war through skills, but to be front line and
give your life,
if they tell me that, yo, you have to be one of those guys that has to go and build the brick shelters for the real military frontline dudes, maybe 50 meters in advance, take precautionary measures, be safe, do it. I could do that, but like being in the, maybe I could be a spy. I've also low-key fantasized. They need it in the war too, right?
If you ask me, when I was younger, I would have been a great soldier. But I also feel like giving up your life for such a stupid cause, unless it was like they were invading, then I would get involved.
No, the thing is, dog, like, what if they just put you in a situation where you had to? That's how I answered the question.
So, like I said, I would not join.
So you'd go into exile?
Well, if it was put to that, I would go back to England.
Go back to England.
Yeah, I'll go back to England. Because I've been there before.
Wow.
Now you're taking me out of context. No, because I can go to England.
It's such a great thing to be able to go back to England, isn't it?
I can go back to England because of my birthright.
If they're attacking us here, where are we going to go back to?
No, you would exile
This is my problem with Ernest.
Okay, so you got me there. I feel like you got me there in a good spot because I can go back because of my mother's birthright. That if they exile, you asked me if they exile.
But let's say it's a world war.
Okay, if it's a world war,
and of course, England is definitely going to be at the center of it.
Of course, they would be. Yeah, go there. I'm getting brought back into the fight.
Exactly, going to the front line.
Yeah, straight. But
doing it
like
for
I said,
Winston.
I would be a good soldier. I just wouldn't want to be involved in such an easy mess that could be that could be solved in a discussion.
I'm actually surprised by your response. I thought you'd be more eager to go to war for this country, considering that you look like you might be ready to go to war.
Like I said, I'd be a great soldier, but I just feel it would be so stupid for us as in this day and age to get into physical combat or physical fight.
Just send nukes and finish it.
Well, eventually that's what it's going to be.
I feel like but why not, guys? If you wanna
like,
take it there.
It's so stupid. So to even if people get behind this, like, yo, we've got to go support, you don't really have to. Like, unless they force you, which I said, oh, fuck off. But if it's at a point where I have to protect my family, then I'm locking and learning, and I'll fight, and I'll happily do so.
Can I tell you before we jump into the confessions?
If I could move around it, I will move around it as much as possible.
I watched this movie. I think I must keep recommending like
movies,
intense black content to you. Yeah, I feel like we're doing a really, really interesting culture exchange ultimately on this podcast, you know.
Yeah, that's what I thought it would be when we spoke about it.
Yeah, I'm glad.
That's loud.
So I watched this video.
Spoken.
It's a movie, right? I was probably stoned, you know, but it's a hectic movie. It's called Flame. Yeah, it's about this Zimbabwean girl, right, and her friend. So just to build up the story, the rebels who were fighting against the white guys in Zimbabwe,
The Anglo-Boer Wars,
in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, well, they were fighting
The Rhodesian Bush Wars.
The Rhodesian Bush Wars. Okay.
Come on, dog. Like, know your white history.
You said the white Afrikaners.
I said the white guys.
Oh, the white guys in Zimbabwe.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to racially slur you.
Because the Anglo War, they were protecting all the borders.
Yeah.
That's how the war. So they would have technically been.
But this was still under enforced cessor.
Okay.
Ultimately, you know.
All right.
It was the Rhodesian War, Rhodesian Bush War. So that's where the movie's taking place.
Awesome.
The rebels who are black like her kill her dad on some misinformation. She's like, fuck
Kill her dad?
Yeah. She's like, fuck it, I'm joining the
forces.
army.
Okay.
So she went to Mozambique. They trained her.
Who trained her?
The real rebels, the political rebels, the guys who eventually liberated the country. So the rest of the movie doesn't matter from that point. But I feel like, bro, is that the minimum or the maximum motivation one needs to join a rebellion? Actually, I feel like the white guys killed him. The black guys sold her out to the white guys. Her dad out to the white guys, and they came and took her and ultimately killed her. So then she joined the rebels. So I'm like, man, that's intense.
Yeah, I definitely think certain things like that will impact your life to make lots of decisions.
Must it get there? Can I tell you another quick
that's
story?
That's the fucking point I'm trying to say. It mustn't get there because we can talk about it.
Listen, the other day I was on a trip. I decided to take a taxi for a long time.
Yeah.
Can I tell you the truth? I must have been microdosing that day. So I'm taking the taxi and I meet this dude. You know, taxis are random.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know.
Yeah. No, I know.
Do you know?
No one's got a ticket.
Okay. Now, let's take you for a taxi ride one time and we document it.
I did it when I was a school kid.
Okay, but not in your older age.
Not since I've been here.
You've been in your bubble.
I've been in my bubble myself.
Okay, I wanted
South African bubble, yes.
So I wanted to pop that bubble a bit for myself. That's why I took the little excursion. So as predicted, I met a random person right next to me. I was coming from a funeral.
Shit,
Of one of the comrades back in the day. So obviously, you know, the conversation ultimately ended up on politics. He was talking about how he knew the homie, etc., who had just passed away. And then it's like, I asked him, so who would you vote for today? He's like, yeah, look, man, today I wouldn't actually vote, you know, as someone who was participating in the struggle, you know, who lost brothers and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like I wouldn't.
Crazy.
So I'm sitting there looking, I'm like, yo, this nigga went to war.
Yeah.
For this shit. But then the further thing is that he elaborated on was that if he has to vote, ultimately it will come to the ANC and never to any other party, because he was trained psychologically when coming up of a black consciousness movement. You know, so I'm listening to this real person
Makes
telling
sense.
me this, and I'm like,
The ANC's constitution is also fucking really good.
This is what I'm saying, and it's like it's 2025, dog. It's 2025. Things have changed, but the mindset is still there, and that's what I'm saying about like maybe going to war, dog. You know, going to war. I don't know if we just wake up and we pick up arms and we go. You know, it for me, dog. I feel like
I like
let's get real.
The topic of today's conversation, because it's flown into: would you riot? Would you go to war for something you stand for? I don't know.
You know what, dog? You know, I look at my life, how I'm living. It's not as excellent as I'd love it to be, but it's okay. Yeah, you know.
Me too.
And I'm like, man, this country has kind of been good to me.
Me too.
You know, like I'm able to I was here the other day saying, guys, let's give our hands up for the government, because I've been places and seen things and I've experienced it, and I've seen the work these people are doing. It may not be everyone, but there are people on the ground who are going to war against the same things you and I have problems with in their work.
100%.
You know, and it's like, dog, I fell so in love with even meeting the people who are just trying. They're being positive. I'm like, man, there is this country definitely has something for us all to die for, in terms of like for the country. You know what I'm saying?
No, I've been blessed through this country.
My prayer,
my experiences. I've been blessed.
Even me, dog. Like,
but it comes to the fact of war at the end of the day is for some other stupid reason. Like South Africa will go to war if they back Palestine far enough, and then a bomb gets blown up.
So then,
the
would you
fight for that?
The question becomes like, what do we think?
I wouldn't fight for that reason.
What do we think about the Palestinian cause? I'm not saying we must answer it now. I'm saying that becomes the question.
That becomes the question.
And if we're being asked to take a stance in it, against it, and like you have really no choice, or you I don't know, maybe go to jail, charged with treason. I don't know if I'd want to go to jail for not being able to stand up.
Yeah, but do you not agree with me that it should be avoided?
I definitely agree. I'm not trying to go there tomorrow.
No. And if it came down, that's what I would say. If the army was conscripting all of the guys, it better be for a bloody good reason for me to put on to pick up a gun. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thought to have to everybody. But you had a very good point. South Africa has given me, and a lot of our viewers and a lot of the people around South Africa have given them an amazing life that people around the world would like this to have your life.
This is the world. This is the land of Mandela. Do you know that homie got a statue in London? Where you come from? Or your mom? You know, he got a statue out there. And you know, like for me, I'm humble, dog. Like when I hear people talk about maybe this person betrayed the country historically with some of his decisions, I'm like, okay, maybe. But that homie was great.
Yeah. No, he did a lot of good.
Dog, I want you to understand what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about good. I'm talking about great.
Yeah. No, well, he's a historic figure, bro.
I'm talking about.
I've got him on my leg.
I'm talking about, dog. They took down.
He's right here.
They took down Hendrik Verwoerd's statue.
Yeah.
Sooner than they'll take down Mandela's.
I agree. Mandela
in London.
No. There's no.
And this is the country he comes from.
Yeah. No, there's endless possibilities.
And all the other homies
it comes
with
back to my first rant, my first earnest type of rant.
I'm glad we take it back to Ernest.
Yeah, it was.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but it's coming back to that.
Do you think Ernest would go to war for this country?
Definitely.
If we were getting other enemies,
maybe because it's
Ernest will try to negotiate the minimization of the farm matters before he commits.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
Yo, Ernest, you can't tell that homie nothing
but they
about
they are
farm
passionate
matters.
about their communities. You know, so they will bear arms for their little communities. Fair enough. But going back to why I brought up Ernest in the beginning,
Yeah.
is if the government and if everything was working in that world that I spoke about, that I would love to live in, which is a perfect world where the government spending was spent correctly, the public transport services, public health. I can continue this list of electricity, just bettering every South African's lives. Then we would, bro, no one would want to be ever at war.
Yeah.
Because everything would be ticking like a fucking Swiss clock.
Yeah.
You know?
I've heard of the doomsday clock.
No.
You never heard of the doomsday clock?
No. Is it coming up?
Wow. After the atomic bomb was built,
Yeah.
that homie, what is it, Rockefeller? Was it
Yeah.
Rockefeller? Went further to create with the rest of the physicians, Einstein and them,
Yeah.
the doomsday clock, which was basically determining how close the world is to the next nuclear war.
And when was that doomsday clock ticking off to? Is it soon?
So it's supposed to tick off at midnight, and it's like,
When though?
I think it's 10 seconds to midnight on the doomsday clock. Do you want us to verify?
Yeah, I want to see when. Is it tonight? should the viewers get panicked? Do they dance?
Well, if they're watching the episode, then there's nothing.
Oh, it's too late. No, I don't know about this doomsday clock. I obviously know that
Doomsday clock.
there's apparently a global blackout happening.
Just read it out for us, please.
It's currently set at 89 seconds to midnight, the closest it has ever been to a theoretical point of annihilation, according to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. So it's tonight.
No. It's at 89 seconds to midnight. Like, it's just taking the sense of the state of the world.
Oh.
You know? So, yeah, maybe that's why it's so hard to find good news. Because a lot of just crazy. And you know, like, the shit is not bad always. It's just even extremely crazy.
You know what we should have brought into this segment? Oh, we're going to do confessions, so that's at least fine.
Okay, yes.
I think we should bring it up.
We have to do the confession.
We should end on a good note.
Mm-hmm.
But we should bring back media and pop culture and stuff like that. Because we had such a good chat about the Kendrick
performance.
Kendrick's performance, yeah, at the Super Bowl. That was really.
Do you want us to talk about
No, I don't want to talk about it now, but I'm just saying in our future episodes.
Okay, alright. So we gotta
Because you Mr. in touch with it.
Yeah, not that much, not always. Not always.
But you've got the confessions on your phone.
Do I?
I think so.
I think I have one confession.
The confessions were pretty dry. Nothing really juicy.
People are not going through shit.
They're controlling themselves, yeah.
Oh.
I thought I was funny in one. You know, agreed I was funny.
Oh yeah, I got one. Shit. My boyfriend and I have been together for over 10 years now. We got engaged a year ago. We have a 1-year-old together. He's been going out on weekends and coming home in the early morning hours while I stay at home with our child. I can't sleep while he's out because I don't know where he is and with who. I don't know how it feels like. We want different things in life. I don't know if I should marry him anymore.
Oh, fucking don't.
She doesn't know a lot of things.
Yo, this is a bad one.
Which is a good sign. If you don't know, you shouldn't.
No, this is a big red flag she's throwing out.
But life is interesting. You know, sometimes we take a leap of faith and things are not so bad on the other side.
Yeah, but all of these confessions,
So it's
it's like
very
these people
treacherous
don't
situation.
talk. Like, be like to the guy, like, listen, please message me. At least let me know where you are. Put a live location on.
And Cape Town.
Is it Cape Town?
Yeah.
Hey.
So what do you think? I think it's a colored girl.
Do you colored people date for so long?
What?
10 years and then get engaged?
Bro. Apparently
don't
dating
know,
a colored person is a life sentence. I heard that.
Where is just... there's nobody to validate this.
No, you must ask
Andre, fuck.
You must ask around. You must
Because
ask around.
I don't know. That was the one that threw me off. I know, like, white people, they do date for a super long time.
Yeah.
Then they engagement, then they get married.
Then
Or
they have kids.
Then they have kids. Yeah, it's just kind of...
It's rare to have the kid before the...
Yeah, no, they like to...
marriage.
If they know the baby, you know the wedding's getting planned in 7 months. Yeah, definitely. There are some outliers. I'm not generalizing right here, but I'm generalizing for a few. That's definitely the case. So, but just speak to the dude. I know sometimes it's like it's awkward to get where are you, but you just be like, I'm safe. I'm coming home at 2.
Can I tell you?
You've got a 1-year-old. You must be
Can
responsible.
I tell you? She's not asking the truth on confession. She's not telling a real confession. She's being dramatic. What she means to say is that I know I should leave him, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
That is the real thing that she needs help with. And let's just think about her situation.
How about if she hasn't spoken to the gent and the gent just thinks like,
he's coming
this
home after midnight. When is she gonna talk to him?
The next day, bro.
Come on, dog. No. He's making it. He's not even emotionally available for that conversation.
No, that's why I said red flag. This guy's a fucking dickhead. Because you've got a 1-year-old.
What she must ask us. What she must ask us is, I'm scared he's going to kill me. Because that also is a concern.
Is that what he said?
No, I'm saying that's what she should ask.
Oh yeah.
Because if she knows he's not going to kill her if she leaves, then why is she still there?
True.
If she knows she's not going to die, I mean, from his hand or maybe suffer in life.
Were there some decent responses there?
I didn't see the response. I just screen grabbed it. This is the response.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, you wanted to hear Jill.
Somebody else's.
What's your advice?
No,
Because that's my advice.
Because my advice is, I also said this is not a dude that's taking this responsible.
Yeah.
This whole child responsible. I get there is a time and a place for you to go out with your boys, but there's never a time where you should be letting your chick at home worry about your whereabouts. Like, obviously she's going to be scared. She's alone with the child at home. You're an idiot if you don't see that. Like, that's my opinion. Like, the dude should catch a wake up, and that's what I'm also trying to say is, have you given him a chance? We don't know. Have you spoken to him about this? Have you made him if she has, then leave the dude. But the problem is, how is she financially dependent on the dude?
Yeah, those are the real questions. I don't know how to leave him.
Yeah, if you're financially
because she
dependent,
knows that she must leave him.
But the courts would see that he would have to pay her. You know, that's how courts work. If it's a 1-year-old, the baby will stay with her until she's 4. That's how the fucking things work, and then they'll have the whole thing where the baby's going to stay. That goes to courts later on.
So can you imagine yourself giving her this advice? Like, oh man, don't worry, man. This shit is just going to traumatize you for a few years.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was your decision if you dated him for 10 years.
The thing
you knew
is,
the guy, my man.
The thing is, like, you're in too deep. There's
10 years.
There's no way to walk out unscathed.
No, it's
too deep.
It's a shit one, but
it's too deep.
You were given 10 years of opportunity to really get to know the person.
You must find
and you decided to have a child with the person.
You need to find the scenario that has the minimal damage to you, but still has opportunities for you to grow.
Exactly.
You know, otherwise you're gonna be stuck in this rut.
Yeah. No, and it's a shitty situation for anybody to go through.
Yeah.
But it makes the point, if you are doing that, make sure it's with the right person. Really make sure. And bear the consequences, knowing that the divorce rate is at such a high rate. So even knowing...
And divorce is not free.
No, fuck.
That's another thing. It's not like breaking up with someone.
We've given great advice today for the ladies. We spoke little about Trump. Just a little bit.
Shout out to our fans
Yeah, sitting over there's a fan over there
for not
telling us to
telling
minimize
us in
the
person
trumping.
and not putting it in the comments that we need to minimize the Trump. But you know what's interesting about Trump?
Oh.
Well, you know those that card name,
Yeah, Trumps.
Trump cards.
Yeah, Trumps.
Trump means literally being on top of.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that game. I used to have all
That's
the
why he's on top of
cricket.
that's why he's on top of the news.
100% so.
It's LoudSpoken.
I'm going to give you a chat GTP summary of this next episode.
No, that was not the assignment.